Hi there, Fred. Nice to see you again. So today's don't is don't gift to customers. Don't give gifts to customers. Very interesting. Tell me more.
Sure. So we just need to put this in context. I'm not talking about presents and giving them stuff. In many instances, you can't do that anyway. So it's not even a discussion. A lot of people say, like, I can't accept that. Don't do it. It's a waste of time. I'm not going to benefit from it. It's going into the raffle, whatever. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about as we're getting into negotiation or closer to negotiation, where we just start to offer stuff up for no reason. That for me is what I would define as a gift. We just give things.
Yeah. Okay, so it's all about stop giving things away.
It is about stop giving things away. And let's have a think why people reckon this is a good idea. Yeah. Value. I'm trying to add value.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really know what value is. So if I just chuck a load of stuff in it, something in there is going to be a value. That's one reason why people think it's a good idea. Yeah. And so potentially they're putting things in which aren't of any value, so they waste it, or maybe they are, and it's something that could be used far more effectively later on, which we'll come on to in a minute. I think people also think it's a good idea because it's like, oh, the customer will really like me because I'm putting extra in there, because I padded out my offer, they will look at me with sort of kinder eyes.
Yeah.
And again, they might not even realize that that's what you've done. They might think, well, that's just pretty standard. That's nothing special. They've not had to work for it, kind of thing. And I think people just think it makes it easier. It just makes it easy to close the sale because, again, we're going back to the value thing. There's so much in there. Look at this. Look how wonderful it is. How can you possibly not want to do business with me? Because all that stuff's there.
So you think salespeople are basically doing it by giving lots of stuff? They're thinking, oh, the person will like me more. They're more likely to buy. I just keep giving them things. They'll think I'm worrying them, basically.
Pretty much so, yeah. That's what's going on, I think. Trying to make your life a little bit easier. The customer's going to think you're great. And it potentially just doesn't work. I mean, that's why, going on to why it's flawed, the customer either doesn't recognize the value because it just is not valuable to them. It's irrelevant. So it's okay, you put that in, that's fine. I'm not going to use it anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting, actually. Yeah, I know a colleague of mine, an IT director of mine, friend of mine, received a remote helicopter from a supplier, a remote control helicopter, and you had to phone up to get the remote control thing. And he thought it was crass, uncomfortable, and he's got his own plane anyway.
What plane? As in a proper his own jet?
Not quite a jet, but he flies his own plane. So on every single level, it just irritated him and wasn't relevant and didn't give any interest at all. So yeah, crazy.
So that was just that was a silly little present. Then they might have said, look, I'm going to give you an extra 3 years on this license.
Absolutely.
And he'd say, well, I don't even need that license. It's just a waste. I don't know why you put it. No value to me whatsoever. Yeah. And or, well, you must have got that free anyway. Why would you want to give that away?
Yeah.
Normally people pay for that. So you've just thrown that in for no reason.
So the customer's not even valuing it then, basically.
Well, either they're not valuing it or they look at it and go, right, is that how it is then? What else have you got up your sleeve? If you're just going to keep chucking stuff at me and I've not even asked for, wait till I start asking. Now it's going to get fun, isn't it? So they're going to go, what else? And I mean, I've told you the story, haven't I, when I've worked with professional buyers and doing very, very formal, structured role plays, simulations, really. And there was one buyer and she didn't tear the salesperson apart. She just said the same thing again and again and again. She just kept saying, what else? What else? What else? She did it 4 times. And the salesperson went, and this. In the end, I had to actually stop it. It was just, but it was great because when we all look back at it, and she goes, of course I'm going to do that. And the more you give it, I'm just not going to stop. You only stopped me there, Fred. You tapped out for them. I'd have carried on doing that.
That's the old cake slicer, salami slicing, cake slicing of the negotiation. Very clever.
But with just 2 words, what else? Oh, this. And the other thing it does, and we've talked about this in one of the others, is it kind of raises the bar in that, well, you give me all this stuff. When you stop giving it me, I'm like, whoa, what's going on here then? You used to give me toy helicopters and software licenses and other sort of little things and trinkets and bits which actually were useful to me. Now you've stopped. Oh, hang on a minute. What was this relationship built on? So there's a lot of flawed thinking in just purely giving stuff away.
Yeah. So if it's flawed, what should they be doing instead?
Get to give. In a nutshell, swap, trade, bargain, negotiate. I don't care what word you use. Yeah. The words that I would suggest you use are if you, then I. That's for me is a core negotiation. And when we train it, that is what in the 15-second negotiation course it all boils down to.
Yeah.
If you do that, then I do that. And so if you have got these things that you could potentially gift, don't gift them, swap them. And I often you've heard me, haven't you?
Like that.
Well, no, you've heard me in training, haven't you, when I talk about swapsies?
Yeah.
I'm using more and more childish language with this, as in swapsies, because people kind of remember it. It's kind of funny. And also, children are brilliant negotiators.
Yeah, absolutely.
They will always swap something. They'll know the value of things. They won't let stuff be traded that isn't of a fair swap, that isn't of good value.
Yeah.
Whether it's your trading cards, baubles, sweeties, whatever, it's like, no, that doesn't equal that. You're gonna have to do better there if you want to do that swap for me.
Yeah.
So to start,
you're very right. I like the swapsies, and I love the don't give anything unless you're getting something back. Hence the swapsy. Never give, only give to get.
And give to get, and it's a good swapsy. It's a decent trade. It's when I was a kid, it was those sticker albums, with all football players in them.
Yeah.
And the club logo always used to be shiny. Now a shiny was worth 3 players. Yeah. No, you wouldn't just swap a shiny for any old player unless it was a really good player. Then you might consider it. So it's just knowing these different values. Now we're not just trading stickers, but the mentality works. The way that we can then use this is to work out, well, what's of high value to them? Actually, it could be this rubbish player because they haven't got it. It's the last one they need for that page. Yeah. They really appreciate this. I've got 4 of them. Well, that doesn't matter. Yeah, it's high value to them and it's low. It's no cost to me. I've got 4 of them. It's in my sticker. It's working out what that translates into in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a good swap. They really value it. It's not costing me a lot. That is no longer a gift. It's a trade.
Yeah.
And that's what the thinking is. That's what we're trying to do with that. When we're saying don't gift, it's very much do trade, do swap, do bargain, whichever you want to call that.
Yeah. Now that makes a lot of sense as well. Yeah. So as you say, occasional gift in the past, maybe that's still okay, but most of that's not allowed anyway. But stop giving stuff, link it to stuff. And try and get something back for it. And I love that we've talked about this once before, was that even as simple as giving something, saying, well, if I give this to you, could you introduce me to somebody else? As simple as an introduction to somebody else is something as well. Ideally, swapsy or tradables are great, but you can ask for all sorts of things, actions, introductions, referrals that salespeople don't ask enough for.
Yeah, use those. When we're getting to this trading phase of a sale, moving into negotiation, I even say to people, stop saying give. Just take that word out of your vocabulary. As soon as you take it away and start saying trade, or if you, then I, or just change your language pattern, that starts to work far better.
Great tip.
Not saying, again, let's just go back, because you did say, I'm not saying, oh, I saw this and thought of you as part of the relationship building.
Yeah.
And it's a little piece of information or something that just, actually, that's really cool. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. Normally low cost, low value type thing. Yeah. That's very much part of a different phase of selling. That's part of building that relationship. But when we're talking about the package and what we're actually buying and what we're talking about, that has got to be defined. It's got to be traded. It's swapped to make out that, or to make up something that worth it for you, worth it for me. We're still good with this.
Yeah. So which goes back again to really understand the customer and their value set, and stop throwing things, stop over delivering things at customers. Actually be more almost commercially equal between you both and having a trading conversation, which is great.
Oh, that is a different conversation. It's having the commercially equal mindset and not feeling subservient or any better off, or having to try to prove yourself and seeking to be liked and loved and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of what the motivator behind gifting is. Saying, no, hey, I've got stuff that you want, you got stuff that I want. Let's do a good swap here. Yeah. And we come out of it equals and both happy.
Yeah. And credibility is enhanced as well. That's brilliant.
It is with a professional negotiator or anybody with any amount of commercial experience. They'll get what you're doing and they won't be offended by it.
If you could sum it all up in one final sentence then, Fred, what would you say? Don't gift, but instead?
Don't gift, but trade.
Brilliant.
If you, then I. They're your magic words.
Excellent. Very simple. Thanks a lot, Fred. Very simple, but very effective. Look forward to seeing you next time. And of course, I'm off for coffee.
Of course. Enjoy it.